Welcome back to Vision Auto Garage. I'm Rob and this is episode 4 of the mid-engine Metro project. It's been a busy week, but I've been able to spend more time on the project than I'd initially planned. I purchased and took delivery of a 2003 MGTF and I've stripped it of its front and rear subframes. This has worked out significantly cheaper than sourcing the parts separately, and I've now got 2 complete subframes with coil-over suspension and brakes. I spent a bit of time getting them fitted to the car, and the front subframe required a little bit of modification. When it was fitted to the TF, the rear of the front subframe mounts were lowered by 2 inches in order to lower the whole ride height of the car. Fortunately for me, these were just welded over the original bolt holes, so I was able to cut them off and reveal the mounts I needed to use. The TF also came slightly modified with front and rear solid bush subframe mounts, so I'll be using some of those on the Metro. In the last episode, the car was sat on its MGF subframes and the hydroelastic suspension units were empty, so it was sitting nice and low. With the TF subframes and their coilovers, it's sitting a lot higher. This again will be addressed when I install adjustable coilovers later on. In today's episode, I'm going to plan out, measure and fabricate the main tubes that are going to support the rear subframe. I've already measured out this tube, but here's how I did it. Using my 1 3/4 inch template bend, I marked the start and end points of the 90-degree bend on tape stuck to the car. Then I measure the distance between the start of the tube and the start of the bend. I'll add on some excess as a margin later. I also measure from the end of the bend to the floor. This will give me plenty of additional material to work with. With these 2 measurements and the template bend, I can work out exactly how long a length of tube I'll need for this piece. The distance from the start of the tube at the main hoop to the start of the bend is 870mm. The tube will make a 90-degree bend downwards, followed by a length of 350mm. So far I've got 870 plus 350, but no length of material for the bend. This is where the bend template comes into play. Before I bent the template, I marked every 10mm down the centre line with a punch, and then whilst bending I marked every 10 degrees in line with the die. This enables me to calculate the length of tube used for any degree of bend simply by counting the dots. In this case it's 225mm. So we've got 870 plus 350 plus the bend of 225. It gives a total tube length of 1445mm. I'll round this up to 1500 to give plenty of excess. Once cleaned up and marked for the start of the bend, the tube is loaded into my JD Squared Model 32 bender, adjusted for preload, the scale zeroed and the tube bent to 90 degrees. After bending both rear tubes, it was time to play Hunt the Noise with my digital level. First for the body, then the subframe, and the tubes prior to notching. It's always a good idea to run a test notch. The first one I did today was slightly off centre, resulting in a wonky notch. A quick adjustment and the second notch was acceptable. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. I should have trimmed the tube so that the hole saw only needed to cut half the material, saving time and wear on the saw. It would also mean I don't have to fish out material from the middle of the cut. After cleaning up the notch, I'm happy with the test fit, so it's on to the other side. I'm really pleased with my setup for this task. The sit pillar drill is faultless, and once the tube notch is aligned, it's accurate and quick. I've spent the last 15 minutes scratching my head trying to work out how I'm going to hold everything in place while I measure and cut the rear crossbar. I just simply don't have enough hands, clamps or magnets to do it, so I'm going to have to tack weld in place the rear bars to make sure everything's lined up so I can measure accurately. It wasn't until after I'd tack welded all the tubes together that I saw something I wasn't happy about. The
The joint between the vertical leg and the horizontal tube at the rear is too close to the wheel and tyre for my liking. It's also just a little bit cumbersome. It was also at this point my camera batteries depleted.
Well, I've stayed on a little bit longer and recharged the batteries. I really wasn't happy ending the video on a downer, and I wanted to sort the rear end tubes before the day was done. The solution was quite simple, and I put a 20-degree bend in the bottom of the rear tubes. This has pulled them in away from the tyres and gives loads more space. It's all tack welded back together save the horizontal bar at the bottom. That can be saved for another day. If you've enjoyed these videos, please do like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.